Hello and welcome to Boom 11. We are going to be reviewing the two matches that have concluded so far. The first one, England versus Iran, where England thrashed Iran 6-2 to take a lead in the Group B. And on the other hand, in Group A, you had Netherlands just right now, a few minutes ago, beating 2-0 uh, beating 2-0 Senegal, and late two goals for Netherlands. A very close compact game, but at the end, Netherlands did come out on top. I have me able right here. Able, how did you look? Let's start with Iran and England and Iran. What did you really think? Went right for England in that match because Iran never really turned up, did they?
I mean, they did not. That's the that's the surprising part about it. The moment their keeper got injured, I felt they really lost morale over there. They lost that ground of morale, which really made them, sit back a lot more. They were opening up spaces, but then you have to give credit to England. They were playing like a team who really wanted it a lot more. They were playing with a lot more intent, especially when it comes to their attacking prowess. It was just top notch. Let's talk about Harry Maguire. He's getting all the flack, but the way in which he was playing today, when he puts on that English shirt, he's a different beast altogether. He looks like Prime Maldini whenever he puts on that English shirt, and there is no questioning that. Let's talk about the mistakes he has committed in the English shirt. Very bare minimum. More often than not, you praise him for the good works he has done with the English team. Hence, once again, Southgate saying that I picked this team because I trust them, and he's given complete confidence. And Luke Shaw, another player who has been getting a lot of flags from the same team once again. But when these two put up the English shirt, they are different gravy altogether. But if I have to just generalize that game, it was England who ran riot for absolute fun, and they look like a dangerous team from here on because that score line will really give them a lot of goal difference if at all if they're going to be put in a spot at some if at all they're going to be put in a spot at some stage in the group, but which I don't think will happen. The fluidity, the mindset with which they were progressing the ball forward, especially the wing backs getting involved. I didn't mention in the preview as well. It's going to be so important for Trippier and Luke Shaw to be involved in attacking halves, especially when it comes to them providing the attacking threats, because with Trippier and Luke Shaw, they both have the ability to get forward and pin the balls in. That's what they did today. And Jude Bellingham, what a game did he have today? Youngster once again proving that he's one of the best midfielders out there in Europe and bringing that A game to the World Cup on his World Cup debut. Fine player, man.
Absolutely. Great day for him as well. But we will get into the nitty gritties of this match. But let's go to the second match quickly. What did you think of the second match, Netherlands versus Senegal? It was a very close competition. It was end-to-end football. Probably the best match that we have seen in the three that has already been played. But late two goals for Netherlands that shifted especially at goal where I think it was Gakpo who came in. A little bit of a mistake there from Edward Mendy, who had a decent game till that particular point in time, where he timed his jump a little late. And then, of course, in the next game, counter-attacking football, Davy Klaassen, another rebound of the goalkeeper, which he converted again to make it 2-0 right at the end, or the last kick. Your thoughts on that match, Abel?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, talking about that game, I personally thought Senegal had a dominant position throughout the course of the game. If you talk about shots on target, that in itself says a story. Netherlands' first shot on target was Gakpo's goal. Until then, they were very silent. They did not create much chances as well. It was complete Senegal, especially in the second half. Senegal had a couple of very good chances which they couldn't convert. This could have well been a 2-all game, even a Senegal victory if you look from a different perspective. But then I thought Edouard Mendy once again messed it up for them. Two of his mistakes really cost them the goal. Until then, Koulibaly and the lads were putting in a good work, especially in the defensive line. I thought Koulibaly was outstanding today, especially in the back line. He was leading. He was leading the defensive line as a leader. Something which we did speak about yesterday. Also, how Koulibaly is going to be an important player for this team. Because when you talk about experience, Koulibaly, Koyate, these lads have gotten experience. Have gotten experience. That if definitely everybody knows they are missing out on someone like Sadio Mane. It is unfortunate they're missing out on him. But the fact is that the way in which Koulibaly and Cisse and everybody stepped in at the right time, especially Koyate I thought was brilliant in the middle of the park where he was able to control the game a lot more. He was very calm and composed. He brought his experience completely into this World Cup. Maybe I thought I possibly think that could also be a reason. Once Kuyate left the park, the tempo of the game really shifted to Netherlands as well. They were able to control the ball a lot more to the middle. They were able to they were able to create chances and break open the Senegalese defense as well. So I think that was a decisive moment in the game. If you look back in hindsight, when Kuyate was taken off the park, Netherlands really knew there was an opportunity for them to press them a lot more, get into the final third a lot more. And that ball from Frankie de Jong, it was one of the most, it was a beautiful ball. Frankie de Jong was not having the best of games until then. He made a lot of errors, uh, especially when it comes to him losing the ball in important situations, and also him unable to convert a chance. I thought it was in the first half that he got a very open chance, as in him again taking a little bit of while in making the decision not to take a shot over there really cost them a goal, I felt. But in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second half, I thought Frankie De Jong was at his best, especially towards the last 15 minutes. He was playing the ball really well, especially him drifting on the left hand side and right hand side, really overloading one side as well. Dumfries and Frankie De Jong, there were certain phases in the game where Dumfries and Frankie De Jong was moving on to the left hand, to the right hand side, and overloading that area and trying to create space for Memphis and Gakpo to run in behind. That was brilliant play. It was proper Van Hal tactics which was deployed over there. It worked for perfection. And also credit to Daily Blind. I thought he had a game which will go under the radar, but a very fine game indeed.
Absolutely. Let's start with the England Iran game. Let's look at the possession stats straight away. And I think this pretty much tells a story, isn't it? 74 to England, 26 to Iran, and that's pretty much it. When you have, I mean, 3/4 of possession, then you're obviously bound to dominate the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that, definitely, but we did expect that also from Iran, that they were going to sit back. They were not going to have the majority of the possession. That's how Iran plays, and you had to also understand that Iran were the weaker team in terms of ranking, in terms of the quality as well. If you have to compare them with the English team is very high on paper when it comes to individual talent, and they brought their A game. We did expect them to bring their A game just because of the way in which they had individual capacity. It would have been a shocker if England would have really not converted this game and wouldn't have grabbed those 3 points. I expected them to grab those 3 points. As I mentioned, if it was a 1-all win, a 1-all lead at that point, it could have well been a 1-all. I mean, if it was a 1-nil lead, this could have well been a 1-all kind of a game. But then what England did was they kept coming at Iranian defense. They knew that they sense opportunities on different occasions. Especially, I remember when Bellingham scored. From there on, there was a spike in their step. Every attacking move they made sure they converted it or had a shot on target. So I thought that was brilliant from Southgate as well, to make sure his wing backs were attacking from one end. Especially they were having I think they were attacking with 5 men, and they were having a defense line of three. It was 3-1, 3. I think it was 3-1, 2, or 3-1, 3-1-1. 5. I think that's how they were attacking, if I remember, especially in attacking progress, and that was really helpful for them. And I thought, once again, Bellingham making those in behind runs was really good to see. As we expected, Declan Rice was a player who was going to stay back, control, do the dirty work, but at the same time, for Bellingham to do in behind runs behind Mason Mount and Harry Kane was brilliant. I thought I thought it was going to be a 4-2-3-1, but then they lined up as a 4-3-3. If you look ultimately, where Declan Rice was playing at number 6 and Bellingham was playing at number 8. So that was good to see. Pretty surprising, because we all expected the lineup. Even whenever I checked on the, especially when I checked on the tactical board, I thought it was going to be a 4-2-3-1, as we did, as we were doing the preview. But once I saw the lineup out, it was a 4-3-3. That in itself was a good move by Southgate. He was getting a lot of flack for that 4-2-3-1, which was very defensive minded. But today he went to the 4-3-3. And as I said, when this team plays attacking, I don't think any team in the world can really stop them, because that's the quality they have. Let's just talk about them in their attacking half, right? When they were going into Iranian half, especially in their final third, the kind of players they had to score, especially Harry Kane, one of the best strikers out there, Jude Bellingham, who's been in very good scoring form for Dortmund, and if you talk about Bukayo Saka, he's been in fine form as well. And why are we missing on Mason Mount? He was creating a lot of chances. He was playing the ball. He was trying to penetrate the Iranian defense as well, especially through the right hand side. And it was just beautiful to watch England play today. And I think they are they have given already a statement as to what they can possibly do in this World Cup.
People, is it because I mean Southgate is known for that defensive or a pragmatic approach to football, but do you reckon today being
Aisha
the
is
fact,
Frankie De Jong. I think Aisha. So Frankie De Jong is, if I have to explain, he's one of the best players of Netherlands. If I have to say, he is maybe your Babar Azam of a Netherlands team. Yeah, good.
Um, yeah, I mean, my question being able, we know that we know the kind of team, that England are, and the manager, especially Gareth Southgate, has a pragmatic approach. But do you reckon that first goal, he realized that he can put the pressure on, and get the goal difference up? Iran did look a little nervous, did look like a second-rate team, to be very honest. And do you reckon that's the reason why he went with this approach, or is it something that you'll see throughout the World Cup now?
I hope we see this throughout the World Cup, especially when they come up against stronger oppositions, like teams like Wales and USA. But then I think today's game is going to give him a lot of confidence, because today's game is going to tell him that let's remember that Iran is a tough defense to break. Look at their last 8 games. They've not conceded more than 2 goals in any of the games. They've come up against some top opposition. They've defeated Uruguay 1-0. They've had some good results as well. They've kept clean sheet more often than not. It's a very tough team to score against. And even if you look Iran in the last 4 years as well, they're a very compact for defensive side. They went in with a 4-1-4 approach, which meant they had 5 at the back. Especially in defensive transition, it was not going to be easy to break them. But in the way in which they broke the lines, that was just brilliant to watch. The way in which their wing backs were coming in, which really left Iranian defense to doubt what how to defend them, because what happened was the in behind runs made by Sterling. Sterling was cutting in, and Luke Shaw was providing them with that width, which meant that they had to either mark Sterling, and which also meant the in behind runs of Jude Bellingham came in so much more effective. You saw that first goal, Jude Bellingham was not nowhere there in the picture. All of a sudden, he comes into the box, scores that, and the width was once again provided by Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw was excellent today, defensively and offensively. He was top notch. And Trippier, I don't have to talk about it. I hope there's no serious injury with him. He was looking slightly worried, but then the kind of form Trippier has been in, outstanding. The thing is that if you look at that English team, every player is a main starter in an English Premier League side, top 6 side. And if you talk about Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, they were the only doubtful players, especially when it came to the starting 11, because they were not in the best of forms, right? Because we all have to accept that the way in which they were having an awful time in the Manchester United camp in terms of whatever was happening. Now you also feel that maybe Manchester United can be blamed because they were not exactly fitting into the system. But then look at ball playing ability, which they were playing from behind, which was quite surprising. That is also because Iran were not pressing them hard enough, so they had enough time to play the ball from behind. Maguire was looking a lot more confident. Look at him in corners. He hit the bar twice, if I'm not wrong, and he was looking like he really wanted. I thought Maguire was going to spin at least a couple of goals today. His physicality came into complete use today. It looked like a Maguire who wanted to prove a point. At the same time, Luke Shaw as well. These two players wanted to prove a point, but then at the same time, look at England's bench strength. Look at the players they got in when they made their substitution. Callum Wilson, a starter for Newcastle United, already scored 6 goals in Premier League. Jack Grealish, a starter for Manchester City. Phil Foden, a starter for Manchester City. These are all are top teams, right? Marcus Rashford, who's been in very good form with United lately. And you saw the difference. All these players will be starting in any other World Cup team. These all are bench players. That's the kind of depth this English team has got. They came in, Rashford in the second touch, goal. Callum Wilson running through, Grealish goal. This was a crazy game in terms of that. So these people are actually issuing warning signs, because if they continue to play this kind of football throughout the course of World Cup, um, I'm not predicting too early, but then very few teams can stop them from taking that home.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very interesting approach, I would say, because it did seem like Gareth Southgate had felt like he had the opportunity to go ahead with it, and he went after the Iranian defense and the Iranian players rather. Even let's look at the pass accuracy of both the teams, and once again, as you can see, it's just pretty much, it shows the reason why Iran couldn't really progress into that half, why Iran was not able to make in those runs. Also, probably the reason why you realize that Iran not able to keep possession, because the only way you keep possession is by making sure your passes connect, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially when it comes to them, Iran on the ball, I did tell you, right. The fact that Iran are not the most comfortable ball playing players. They like to hit you on the counter, and they showed in the chances they got. They scored 2 goals, and that's the kind of attacking threat they can bring as well. Especially Terami, we didn't mention about him how clinical he can be. Once again, he did show that how clinical he can be if given an opportunity. He on the turn scoring that first goal, that was just beautiful to watch. And Iran, the only way to defeat Iran was to attack them completely. They pressed them. They were very good in terms of dominating the ball, and pass accuracy does say that, especially when it comes to England having the majority share of the possession, and also the pass accuracy. Especially when it comes to Jude Bellingham controlling the entire play, I thought that was brilliant. Jude Bellingham was really taking up the 30, playing a box to box role. Uh, you know, taking the game on, and linking up pretty much with Mason Mount and Bukayo Saka as well, and Harry Kane as well. We have to give credit to him. He did not get on the scoring sheet, but the fact that Harry Kane was an important strike, he played a very important role today, which a lot of strikers in modern football do not really do it. Very few strikers do it, and that's one thing which Harry Kane does it time and time again with his English squad. He drops in deep, tries to create options for Saka or Sterling to run in behind, or Bellingham to run in behind, even Mason to run in behind, and he creates that opportunities, which can be very important, especially penetrative passes, which breaks the line of a defense, which can be very penetrative through the central region as well, which Harry Kane has been pretty good at. We have seen that over the years with Harry Kane, and he did it today once again. I thought that's where you don't look at Harry Kane's importance in a game by just not him, being up on the statistical sheet of scoring. Just look at the impact in terms of what he can create. I think the chances created by Harry Kane in the last 4 years for England will be right up on top. I think more than any other player, and especially once Harry Kane gets on the scoring sheet as well, you'll only know how invaluable this player is for this English team. And it's truly a very important figure, and he's a captain of the team for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We saw him, orchestrate the play throughout the game. You felt like he was the one. He was, he was definitely the one who was leading the attack. We saw that one option, where I remember the ball where there was a play between Sterling and Harry Kane, where Sterling went on almost a run before he was stopped by the Iranian defense, almost making it. I think it was after the 3 goals that we made, could have been almost a fourth, which of course later on went to become 4, 5, 6, 6. But let's talk about Iran. They did make a small, some semblance of a comeback in the last 10 minutes, where 2 goals were scored by FC Porto striker, who is a world class player definitely, and he showed his class today as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when we didn't discuss about him even in our fantasy team, that how important a striking option he can be. And I thought everybody except the goalkeeper, I feel bad for him that he got injured. Everybody except the goalkeeper who we had in the team had a decent game. Um, and once again proves that
I mean,
how
I'll just stop you right there. I have to take this. Rob Key is just dishing out, what do you say, prophecies after prophecies. He did say he's going
if
to
Rob Keane
ballistically destroy
continues like
Iran,
this,
and he have
I'm
been
I'm
ballistically destroyed.
afraid that England might just win another World Cup, and this is not. And Rob Keane should definitely be the director of football for the Three Lions as well when it comes to the English football team.
I think
I mean,
it's about time you make Rob Key maybe the sports minister of England or something of that sort. I don't know what's the equivalent of it. I think it's the I don't know. Maybe Rob Key can explain what post he can get into cabinet. Petition for Rishi Sunak. Maybe Rob Key. It's time Rob Key is in control of all the sports. That's the only way England starts dominating the world of sports. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think Rob Key has been the secret hero for the English cricket team, and for quite
Not a
literally, he has
football
been a
team.
hero for the English cricket team, and also for the English football team now. But he's made another prophecy, as I see. He said we're going on a kamikaze attack with USA next. Um, that's very interesting. I hope kamikaze is not the right word, maybe, but then maybe in USA, I'm not gonna comment on that. But the fact is that Robke has been really striking it well.
Yeah. Can't wait for the attack on USA in footballing terms. But even let's look at the XG then before we move on to the Netherlands match.
Yeah,
The XG now, I mean, here obviously XG does make it look like Iran had a lot more opportunities, but
yeah.
does XG always tell the exact story? Because XG is obviously a calculation right here. It seems like
Mm.
Iran were close in terms of shots as well. You would say that Iran did have seven, I mean, five shots out of which three were on target, but then that never really helped their cause. Two of them were, of course, the goals that went in. England, on the other hand, had seven shots on target. So, run me through how the XG here is a little bit more, not as dominant as a match.
Um, to be honest, Iran did get a lot of chances. Let's be very honest about it. There were chances where they looked very threatening in both the halves. I thought they could have possibly pinned in a couple more goals. This could have well been a very high scoring game in terms of that. They took good shots outside the box, and especially Adil Taremi. The way in which he was getting into positions, it really gave him. It really made sure that Iran could have been on scoring sheet way earlier than one could have possibly expected. But then once
Hmm.
again, I thought that is where you talk about how one dominant team can really take away a game from another one. So you can't really say in terms of what XG really says. England in terms of their XG 2.14 is exemplary. I think that's been the best in the tournament so far, and I think Iran's is very close to being second best in the tournament. They already scored two goals. And if you look all the other matches, the teams who have won scoring two goals. Here, despite of Iran scoring two goals, they lost a game 6-2 where they also conceded four. I think Iran's attack was still good. I had no issues with that. They were creating chances. They were getting into positions which were highly threatening English defense. That's why I thought Harry Maguire had to be given credit. The way in which he led the line from the back, he really did show up. He was a captain in the defensive line there. He was putting in his body. He was very technical. He was anticipating the next move, especially Mehdi Tarami as well. I thought he kept
Hmm.
Mehdi Tarami quiet for a long time. I thought that goal which he considered, that's where even Harry Maguire fell, had a concussion kind of a situation where he had to be taken off. But until then, he had him on his in his pocket, if I'm not wrong, if I'm using that term
Yeah.
in a respectful manner. But the fact is that Harry Maguire had a very good game in that. But I thought Iranian defense, who we highly hyped up, really did not turn up today. Hence that scoreline as well.
Yeah, watch out, USA, US 70, because Robkey wants to eat you guys as a New Year cheeseburgers meat. My God, I think Robkey is Robkey is right now. Robkey is riding on a high wave of confidence, and maybe who knows, Robkey is the next Paul the Octopus, right? In both cricket
I
and
think we should make
football.
him famous. If you are the real Rob Key, I'm sure. I'm sure you already are famous, but then if you're not the real Rob Key, then you should meet the real Rob Key. Maybe on a lunch or talk about how you should be taking over English press by you making these statements every day in the morning. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. I love this. I think he's my favorite guy in the comments. No disrespect to anybody else, but Rob Key is my favorite.
Oh, you have to be. I mean, he is. What do you say? Our Paul the Octopus. That's pretty much. Or Rob the
Because it's
King.
getting
That's what we
scary at
call
this
it.
point. It's getting very
Yeah.
scary at this point because his prediction has been 100% accuracy. The confidence
Yeah.
at which he makes and the accuracy of it is just crazy, man.
Yeah. All right, Abel, then let's move on to the Netherlands versus Senegal game. A lot closer. This one, I mean, obviously, both the teams were neck to neck. And as you mentioned, Senegal did challenge Netherlands, which we did say that this will happen. But it was a lot more end to end than we expected, right? And it did look like initially that Senegal had the upper hand, but then Netherlands made sure that they did not let go of the momentum. They did not let a goal in, because at the end of the day in football, you can play terribly, or you can be the second best team in for 85 minutes, and the 86th minute or 89th minute when you score that goal, that can be enough. You can still win the game, and that's why football is so cruel, you would say. But at the same time, that's why we love this game, right? Because of the unpredictability. But how do you rate Senegal's performance against Netherlands? Let's begin with that, and then let's talk about Netherlands.
Firstly, Senegal was outstanding today, as I already mentioned, in terms of what Senegal could possibly bring. We did discuss it as well, how it was not going to be an easy game for Senegal, easy game for Netherlands. It was not an easy game. If you look at throughout the course of the game, as I mentioned,
Mm.
Gakpo's first shot, which he scored, was the first shot on target for Netherlands team, and Senegal had multiple chances. And I thought, especially when it comes to Senegal, they miss a Sadio Mane in terms of finishing it
Yeah.
off in the final third. If Sadio Mane's pace would have been there, I'm pretty sure he would have tested a Nathan Ake in the back line alongside a Virgil van Dijk as well. Virgil van Dijk will know about him a lot more, but Sadio Mane will know a thing or two about Virgil van Dijk as well. It would have been a mouth watering contest, but then it is what it is at the end of the day. But then I thought Ismail Sarr, even even Sabali and all these lads had a decent game in terms of the way in which they attacked. It was end to end to start off with. Initially, the way in which Senegal started with, they had the momentum. They made sure they were not sitting back. They were ready to take on the Netherlands team. They had some important attacking moves, especially in the first 10 minutes. The attacking runs was pretty impressive, especially through the left hand side. I think it was Ismail Sarr who made a couple of attacking runs, which made them get into the final third inside the box. Had a couple of shots there, did not go on target, but that in itself put up a statement. Okay, this is going to be an end-to-end game. Netherlands, don't think we're going to sit back and give you that opportunity. We are going to come and attack you, and that really put Netherlands on the back foot for starting from the word
Yeah.
go. And especially in the second half, they had 2 to 3 chances, which I personally thought they should have converted, especially from the corners. They had a couple of them, and one of them was I think it was when if I'm not wrong, it was Kuyate, or I think it was Kuyate, if I remember, had a very very good chance. It was an open chance which he also missed. But then credits again to Netherlands. They kept their calm. They made sure someone like a Van Dijk really showed his composure there. I thought he was a man of the match. I think he was a man of the match at the end of the day. He was supremely good today. If you look throughout the course of the game, where he was not letting anything off. He was compact on the defensive line. He made sure no defender ran past him as well. A typical Van Dijk thing to do. But at the same time, he gave a lot of confidence to Nathan Ake as well. I was surprised that I did not see Delict and Van Dijk start. It was Nathan Ake who started, and it was quite expected because Nathan Ake is a better ball player in terms of his ability. He can also be much more fluid. If they wanted to attack, Nathan Ake can be used on the right hand side as well in an attacking transition. Hence, Van Gaal preferred Nathan Ake. Something a lot of managers who likes to have the ball control do it. But I was very surprised with the fact that they did not start with Memphis Depay if he was even half fit. I thought they should have started with Memphis Depay. They did not, but good choice going with Gakpo. Showed once again why he's one of the best players in Europe right now. People do say he's from PSV. Yeah, understood. But the fact is that the impact he had throughout the course of the game, the balls he was spinning it in, he was drifting left. He was drifting slightly on the right hand side. From there, he was trying to create opportunities for Klaassen, especially in the first half. His free kicks were on point as well. A couple of free kicks he took was, I thought, was really good. That was some really, what do I say, teasing balls which he put inside the box. Unfortunately, nobody could convert it. And that goal, he had to get that goal ultimately. Uh, to put the cherry on top of the cake. I think he's gonna get a lot of confidence moving here from here on. As I mentioned, no matter where you play, form is something which is irreplaceable wherever you play in the world. And the number of goals he scored for PSV, people were saying, okay, you can't compare him with the Erling Haaland, and fairly enough, okay, you can't compare him with the Erling Haaland because he plays in a Dutch league, which is slightly more. What do I say? Slightly more, non-competitive compared to English Premier League. But then still, you still are scoring 20, 21 goals, had close to 10 to 11 assists already this season. Uh, I also thought I would have loved to have seen Xavi Simons come onto the pitch. Would have loved to see how he would have progressed because he's another player who's in form. He linking up with Gakpo would have been a perfect thing to watch because they do that so often in PSV, especially this season. But the
Yeah.
Netherlands kept their calm, and Edouard Mendy once again proving why he's not the most confident goalkeeper in the world. Why Chelsea made the right decision to look beyond him and go to Kepa Arrizabalaga. That was a very schoolboy kind of an error, for him to come there when Frankie De Jong crossed it. He could have possibly kicked it off, or he could have put it off at least, but he did not, and that's why Gakpo sees that opportunity, put it behind the net. And the last goal, once again, it's a goalkeeping error. He could have put it out. He could have he could have actually stopped it anywhere, but stopped it right in front, which made Klaassen. He's a typical poacher. He ran in and scored once again, which made it 2-0. From there, it was like, okay, Senegal really messed it up in the last 10 minutes.
Aisha Declan Rice is I mean, you would call him a CDM, Abel. For England, he also plays for. I think I don't remember the club now. He plays for Ashton. No, not Ashton Villa.
So he plays for West Ham.
West Ham. Yeah, he plays for West Ham as well. So that is Declan Rice. There are some handsome guys in football as well, Aisha. Just to give you a tip. But yeah, I mean, overall, what do you think of Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, especially? I mean, let me like pick up a few players, right? Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Gakpo. These are players who are
I'll
playing their
go
first
on to
World
say
Cup.
Jude Bellingham is one of my favorite midfielders to watch. I so badly wish Manchester City signs him next season, because I don't want him to be going into Liverpool, because I know the kind of threat he can create if he goes to Liverpool. And I don't know if he's going to come to the Manchester to the City team. But if you're going to sell off someone like a Bernardo Silva, I really wish Manchester City signs him. Or even if you're going to let go of Gundogan, he's an ideal replacement to play a box to box. I see him uh, to be to be taking on the baton from Kevin De Bruyne going ahead in the future as well. But it's just a fanboy in me talking. But Jude Bellingham is certainly one of my favorite players to watch. The kind of performances he puts up every time he faces City, not just that, every time he steps onto the park for Dortmund as well, is just breathtaking, man. I think he should be there in the top 10 midfielders in Europe at this moment. People do say he's from Bundesliga. I think we should stop comparing the leagues. He's got talent. We've seen that. He's a generational talent kind of a player. At the age of 19 to put in that kind of a performance on your World Cup debut,
Yeah.
man, what a player he is. I mean, very few players, right? He has scored. He has equal. I mean, number of goals he has scored in this season for Dortmund has been exemplary. And the way in which he puts in a good work rate. That's one thing. He runs box to box. He never gets tired. He creates chances. He can play as a number 6. He can play as a number 8. He can play as a number 10. That's why his number is 22. So people, there's a specific reason why he wears number 22, because it's a cumulative number of all the positions he can play in a football park. He's a fantastic player. I swear
Yeah.
he's one of my
I
favorite
think
players to watch.
when I think it was probably when due to the concussion, right? Of who I think it was Harry Maguire when he was going through that concussion test. I think Jude Bellingham was playing as centre back for I think 5 minutes or so when he was off the pitch. If I'm not wrong, it was I'm not sure which player was it, but I remember Jude Bellingham playing 5 minutes or so as centre back as well. So. Yeah, I mean that was just exciting, isn't it? The what he can do, and we saw that as well. He was everywhere, and whether you were attacking, whether you were defending. Also talk about Gakpo, right? Two players who've scored their first ever goal in the first ever World Cup goal, and two very important goals, you would say, because both of them were the first goals that came through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both were headers. Both are youngsters who are really lighting it up in Europe, and what a moment for them to start. And another stat which I have is Netherlands have never lost their opening game since 1938, and that's a
Yeah.
crazy stat to have. And this is their 15th game unbeaten under Louis van Gaal as well. They're on an unbeaten streak. As we did mention, Netherlands are a team to reckon with through the course of this World Cup under Louis van Gaal. They are a serious force because of the back line they have, because it's very tough to score against them. Very few opportunities you get, the kind of opportunities you get, you should convert it, or else you're gonna have a tough time, because you saw once Matthias Gillit came into the park as well, they looked even more compact. There was very tough for them. Whatever shots the Senegalese team was taking, it was either hitting Van Dijk or Matthias Gillit. So that's a kind of power. That's a kind of defensive strength they have, and Daily Blind as well. He had a very good game, and he can drop in, as we keep telling. He can drop in as a left centre back if need be. If they had to go in a 3-man defensive system, Daily Blind can play as a left centre back, and Denzel Dumfries is another player who I personally think put in a good effort today. Maybe stats won't really tell you that he had a very good day in the right hand side. He was making those runs. He was trying to give the Dutch team a lot of width. As we said, when they attack, they're going to attack as a 5-man system, where you will see Gakpo, you would see them into a switching, and that's something which you saw today. You saw Klaassen switching on the right hand side, Gakpo dropping in between, and you saw Gakpo going on the right hand side, Memphis going on the left. Something which they keep doing time and time again, which really puts the opposition defenders in trouble. Though they don't have a lot of shots and targets, something which they will think like, okay, it was not the most complete game for them. 3 points nonetheless. It's a big win to start of the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Let's look at the possession stats. 53% to Netherlands, I mean, 53 percentage to not Netherlands, rather to 53 percentage to yeah, 53 percentage Netherlands and 47 percentage to Senegal. Is it because, especially towards the end? I think that's where this 50-50 really got breached. Towards the end, the last, ever since that first goal of Gakpo, from then on, Netherlands were the ones in the driver's seat and they never let go of the ball, did they? And I think whenever Senegal made a run
Towards the
deep in,
course of the
then they were
game,
getting
I
a
thought
counter.
Netherlands were the team who had dominant ball possession at least. I thought they were in control of the ball, but it was very marginal. It could have been a 46, 44, 56 at the max. It wasn't like Netherlands was completely controlling the game. That's something which we did not see. Hence, I give
Yeah.
credit again to Kouyate, who had a brilliant day in the midfield. In the middle, he was controlling the game a lot more for Senegal. The moment he got injured, I don't know how long is he going to be out for Senegal, but he is a vital cog in the Senegalese team. Uh, we talk about Sadio Mane. I think he's as important or more important for the Senegalese team in terms of their attacking progression, especially when it comes to their creativity as well. Because Kouyaté he's got that calmness about him where he knows that he can win a tackle here or there. He can progress the ball. He can create chances if he moves forward. But unfortunately, the moment he was off the pitch, I think it was Gay who came in to replace him, and he had a tough day actually. I mean, you can't blame him. He had very few minutes on the in the park, but then the moment he came in, you could say the tempo of the game was completely changed. It was completely in Netherlands half from there on.
Yeah, I mean, also if you look at the pass accuracy as well, right? Very close between the two of them. 83 for Senegal, 84 for Netherlands. But I think where it really made difference is, I think the shots on target. Somehow, you Senegal had 11 shots off target and only 4 shots on target, while Netherlands had 7 shots off target and 3 shots on target, which you would really say, the first one was obviously Gakpo's header that went through. The next one was the one that was, the one that was played in by Memphis Depay that Mendy saved, and then he rebounded it to Klaassen, who then put it in. So I think those were the 3 shots, and all 3 shots very, what do you say, threatening. But in terms of Senegal, I think there was this one shot where I thought, as Kunate, I think, who took that curving shot into the far post, which was headed away by Van Dijk. I think that was really the turning point of the game. If not for that, if not for that save from Van Dijk, I think the game would have been very much different for. I mean Senegal, because I think Senegal would have taken control the same way
I thought
Netherlands
if
did.
Senegal would have scored first, that this would have been a very different game. Then Senegal would have
Yeah, that was
really
the moment,
gone
right,
deep
where you thought
when they were trying to defend.
Konate got.
You have seen with Senegal as well. We do talk about Sadio Mane again, but the fact is that if you look at some of the biggest competition, if you look at the recent run of form as well, they rarely concede because they've got a very strong defensive line who's led by Koulibaly once again, a tough player to breach. And often we talk about how strong Senegalese defense is. It's tough to breach them until unless it's a mistake or it's an unforced error, like what we saw today. Edouard Mendy did commit an unforced error, which came against the run of play. They did not look at any stage that Netherlands were going to come inside the box and they were going to threaten the Senegalese team. That's how the game's tempo was. Even CC, I thought, had a very very good game. But then when I talk about Sabali was outstanding. Once again, he had a good defensive work rate, and especially him in the final, him progressing forward in the final third, trying to create chances, trying to take those shots as well. Really put the Dutch keeper uh, to testing on multiple occasions. But the fact is that these unforced errors is something which they could avoid going ahead in the World Cup, especially Edouard Mendy. I know he's their best man between the sticks, and he's a very reputed keeper, right? He's a Champions League winning keeper. His ball playing ability is something which I really don't rate it so much. Hence, he's also dropped off the Chelsea team. But when it comes to his shot stopping ability, at least in these kind of situations, he's much more
I mean,
comfortable.
did
This
you
is where
feel he was
Edouard
a bit
Mendy
rusty because of the lack of minutes that he's been getting under Chelsea? Because he was a
possibly,
great
as
keeper when he was playing well for Chelsea, right?
he looked very underconfident in multiple occasions today. He did
Yeah.
look very underconfident. I think it's also because of the lack of game time, as you rightly mentioned, and because of his initial performances in the season, where he was pretty awful in terms of his ball
Mm.
distribution skills. And the moment Graham Potter took over, he made very clear that you're not going to be starting in my 11, which really possibly could have dented his confidence. And going to a
Yeah.
World Cup with that kind of confidence could really prove your team costly. And that's what happened today in both of these occasions, where Edouard Mendy could be the sole person to be blamed. Can't really blame the defense because throughout the course of the game, they really put in a really good show. The complete Senegalese team.
Yeah,
This could have easily been a 1-0 Senegal win, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Ultimately, the Netherlands really took that opportunity, sniffed an opportunity, took that opportunity, and killed the game.
Yeah, Matthias Willis says that Klaassen was acting old Robin and that he should get an Oscar. I think Klaassen really did show his class, didn't he?
He did. He did. He's the only Klassen with a KL who's been classy over the last one
KL.
month. If you know, you know. He's been pretty classy. But then, is he talking about his hairstyle and everything in terms of that? Yeah, he did look like the old Robin. But then I can never compare any player to Robin. Robin cutting in is a magical thing to watch, especially in World Cups. Takes me back to the 2010 World Cup where he was in some sort of form, man. But yeah, nonetheless, I would say
I think
Klaassen will be happy that he got into the scoring sheet. Thought on Bukayo Saka tactical analysis is something which Carlo is looking at. Uh, yeah, I mean, to be talking about Bukayo Saka, I would say he's been having an outstanding season. I think this is where he's really broken through. We always knew he had the potential, but with the Arsenal team he's been playing with, he's really broken through. Today you saw, the way in which he was cutting in, the
and
pace he's
somewhat of
got
a
on the right hand
redemption,
side.
isn't it, Abel? Because the last time he played for England in a big tournament, he had to face a lot of abuse from the English fans. But today he still came on
I thought even
and
in the
proved,
tournament, Jaren, he was
yeah,
outstanding. With the number of games he got, he was a preferred option over Jadon Sancho. Can you believe it? Because the press was behind, really were putting in some flack for Gareth Southgate because Jadon Sancho was the blue-eyed boy, at least for English
yeah,
media, because of what he was doing in Bundesliga. And as I keep saying, you can't compare both the leagues, but the fact is that he was having enough stats, and he was putting in a show for Dortmund. He was linking up with Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham, and Jadon Sancho were that trio to watch out for. So even I personally question Gareth Southgate on multiple occasions. Why is he not starting Jadon Sancho? Because he wasn't that kind of form. And why would he keep a player who's in that kind of form on the bench? But in that tournament, especially, they were very pragmatic. And the kind of work rate which Bukayo Saka can also put in is one of the reasons why he preferred Saka. And if you guys, many of them might be not knowing, Bukayo Saka can also play as a left wing back and a right wing back. He used to do that quite often for Arsenal when he broke through to the scene. He was used as a left wing back in multiple occasions by Mikel Arteta, especially in the 2020 season. So he's gotten that kind of ability as well, where he can give you the defensive work rate if need be. But then that's what I thought that was the reason why Gareth Southgate went and preferred Bukayo Saka in Euro 2021. But this World Cup, he's a player who has really risen up to the occasion. If you look at all big matches, Bukayo Saka has scored, and look at the kind of creativity he puts in. He can put in a cross. He can dribble past a couple of defenders. His ability to get in spaces is just fantastic, and he's very confident as a player as well. He's one of the elite wingers out there right now in the English Premier League. One of the best young players in Europe right now, and proving once again why English teams squad depth is seriously crazy because they're keeping a Madison, Foden, Callum Wilson, and Grealish on the bench and Rashford on the bench, and that's their attacking trio, and they were able to put in 6 goals. So,
yeah.
of course, a force to reckon with. Any team who's going to come up against England, if they're going to play this football, which I saw today, be aware. That's what I would say.
Fair enough. I mean, just about to start, the third match of the day, you would say, if you're not in India, probably the first match of today.
Yeah.
But very quickly, Abel, US is playing Wales. It's Gareth. It is not Gareth. I mean, it's Gareth Bale, a different Gareth, who's going to be facing against Christian Pulisic, two players. Obviously, Gareth Bale. I am getting confused very,
Yeah.
very much. But Gareth Bale is going to be, is still a very good player when it comes to Wales, right? When he dons a Wales shirt, somewhat like Harry Maguire, but obviously a lot
I would
better.
say
But
Bale has
he
done it
is
a lot in terms of him in club football. But when it comes to Christian Pulisic, he's a different player when it comes to US, and he's
the
pretty
Michael
much
Jordan of football, yeah.
I have no comments for that. I think Michael Jordan will. I think we are disrespecting Michael Jordan if you're trying to compare anybody to him because Michael Jordan, when he baskets those, he's super confident. But then Christian Pulisic, when he's put right in front of a goal, even without a goalkeeper, he misses those. I think it's a Chelsea thing. I don't know. It's a Chelsea thing that any striker who comes with that profile goes in front of the goalpost and misses those sitters time and time again. So that's why Christian Pulisic is one of the most hated Chelsea players. For him to get compared to Michael Jordan, it's a very typical US thing to do because he's their only superstar player who's won a Champions League in recent past.
Yeah. They'll even think news from Wales team that Joe Allen won't be playing this match. A big loss for them. How much important was Joe Allen and Ramsey when they came together as a unit in the midfield and created chances. Now they are not. I mean, Joe Allen is not playing. Ramsey is playing. Bale is playing. Dan James, another very exciting talent from this team.
Yeah.
How do you reckon? I mean, let's just quickly get to it because the kickoff is just few seconds away. Your predictions?
It's actually tough to say that because they've got a good team, especially with the likes of Harry Wilson playing, Gareth Bale, and Adam Ramsey, and Ethan Ampadu is a player who I'm very excited to see how he's going to go about. He's coming with a lot of reputation, especially in youth football. He was really killing it out there, especially for Chelsea. I thought he would be the next big thing. He's not really converted himself to that player of a stature, but this is the opportunity for him. And Dan James as well, as I mentioned already in my preview, how I am excited about Dan James, how he's going to convert it. He's not really done it in
Yeah.
multiple occasions, but here is an opportunity for him to do is like, okay, I've not really done it in multiple occasions. So if you give me an opportunity in a world stage like this, I can go in and trouble. And let's talk about wing backs of USA as well, right? Wing backs of USA are are a threat, especially when are in poor form. Sorry, they're in real poor form. Especially someone like a Serginho Drest. He has been in
Yeah.
poor form with AC Milan. He's been getting all the flack possible in the world. If you are going to go and attack them with pace, they are going to struggle. And USA hasn't been in best of forms leading into this World Cup as well. So this is an opportunity for Wales to really bag into 3 points. But then, as you say, World Cup is a different ball game altogether. You really have to be on top of your game. I'm expecting someone like a Sargent, McKinney, all these players to step up in a game like this. And I really, really hope Dest has a good game because as a Barca fan, I've seen the worst of Dest in multiple occasions. I'm happy that I'm able to share that Soro with AC Milan now. They're pretty happy about it. They're not happy about it at all. At least I am happy that we have offloaded him. But the fact is that it's time for him to really pull up his socks. He's no more a youngster. He has had enough games under his belt in European
The
top
honeymoon
tier
period is over,
football.
you would say. Yeah.
Yeah, the honeymoon period is over. You can't call him a youngster and give him the leeway time and time again. And especially in a World Cup, he's going to be up against a Dan James who's going to be super quick. So it's about how he's going to deal with him.
Well, all right. We're 2 minutes already into the match. We will leave you right here. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, once again at Boomer 11. Remember to download and play Boomer 11, the risk free fantasy app. It's available on Apple App Store and Google Play Store as well. And Carlo Fernandez says that USA will struggle. Well, I mean, I hope, I mean, however it goes, I hope they don't struggle as much as I've been struggling between Gareth Southgate and Gareth Bale throughout this live. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We will be back soon enough. And until next time, goodbye, guys, and see you soon.
Good night,
And thank
guys.
you, Ibn, as well.
Good night.